better than ever. And I know right now that I'm going somewhere and I need some cheddar. Oh, baby, better not go.
Hey everyone, it's Andre Luck here with my next episode of the Sports Sales Show, where I'm going to talk about the idea of proof of concept as it relates to sports sales and sports ticket sales. Had a great session with the Portland Trailblazers, one of our first NBA clients. I spent the day with them yesterday. A lot of great takeaways. And one of the things that we didn't do a good enough job of on the front end of going out there was really laying out how to position a proof of concept and how they can leverage that for upsells and future growth and expansion opportunities. So we spent a good amount of time talking through that, how to position it. And I thought that's a great place to take the episode for today and share with others out there in sports sales. And this is something that could be applicable to any type of sales, really, but really positioning your first sale or any sale as a proof of concept. Because if you're seeing success with it, why wouldn't they want to then grow their spend or look to expand? Just like if you, from a marketing perspective, if you're using Google Ads, if you're doing Meta ads, or you're seeing this lead source generate high success, you're going to invest more dollars in it. And we should do the same in ticket sales, but we're a little gun shy to do that. We're just happy that we got the sale, and then we'll talk to them next year when renewals come out, instead of positioning that proof of concept, that upsell opportunity right there. So we're going to talk through that and what that looks like, and also some of the other takeaways I had from a follow-up session with them and seeing what that looks like from going out there 4 or 5 months ago to, or about 3 or 4 months ago, to where they're at today, and how they really applied the training, and how that's really the goal that we're looking for, that long-term transformation, not a 1-2 day training session, but really looking to see growth and progression, which I definitely saw there. So we'll talk through some of the takeaways I have from that. So the first time we went out there, again, it was our first session with the NBA team. We were introducing a lot of our new content that I talk a lot about around modern sales, account growth and development, and starting to play around with AI use cases. And so we had a few prompts built in there because we're really big on making sure that people understand the core concepts of B2B sales and the fundamentals, so that as you go out and have conversations, you know how modern buyers are engaging and their expectations as a customer for you as a seller in 2026. And we, with them, tested out and like, let's try out some AI prompts, because that is a part of being a modern seller here in 2026, and let's just see how they respond to it. And they really took to it. Some of the prompts, I'm real big on like a detailed prompt, because you get out from the output what you put in. So they were okay, but they saw really quickly like this could speed their day up, this could help them be more effective. So that gave us more confidence and more excited to dive into it. So now every section within our training has an AI component and an exercise that you're using your ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, whatever it is that your company has, or just that each individual rep likes, to understand, here's the core concept, and here's how I could do this more effectively, more efficiently, and faster with an AI tool. So that was great to see that that was the first session. We did it. We built off that. And there was a lot of wins that came from it. One part of our section and our training is around LinkedIn. And, we had a rep that used LinkedIn and ended up closing a $70,000 sale. We talk about implementation plans and laying out and getting out in front of that objection of too many games, how we're going to use the tickets, and had a rep come out of that session and then take to their client an implementation plan. And with that implementation plan, their client was impressed and wow that they put that much time and energy and focus and diligence into the purchase, that they're excited, and that's only going to lead to long-term growth for them. So that was a lot of what we focused on from the first session. And with these reinforcement sessions where we taught them how to build agents and just reinforcing some of the basic training, I was excited to see how they took to it, which they took to it. Some were talking about the agents that they built and everything like that. It was awesome to see. But the one thing is, we were kind of recapping and going through, all right, what's the next evolution from where you all are at? You guys have tested, you have tried it, you have feedback for me. They're like, yeah, I still don't fully understand the proof of concept. And so the way they were doing it is more of, hey, I'm going to give you a sheet, or let's meet halfway through the year next year and just see how it worked. And then we can talk about upgrading if it was successful, which isn't a bad thing. At least like they have the courage to bring up upsells. A lot of people are reactive and let that come to them. But really, we should be positioning that at the time of sale. And we'll talk through what a successful proof of concept looks like when you first make the sale. So it's easier when that time comes and success metrics are hit. And then you hit those goals to get to the upgrade opportunity that you all talked about. So when to use it. Someone actually asked the question, like, are there certain times to use it? And I just said, if it's a black and white, I would just do it every single time, just get into the habit, and then you'll know kind of the times to maybe pull that back. But every single sale, first sale that you make, should be looked at as a proof of concept. We believe there's value there. We want to prove that out. And whether it's a mini plan or a full season plan, this is just their starting point. And so I talked to them, like, if they're not seeing success in what you sold them, as much as it sucks to lose a sale, we shouldn't be selling it to them. If we're truly a credible, high character salesperson, like we want to make sure and defend, and people are seeing success with it. And if not, not push something that we know isn't working for them. But if it's working, we should also, on the flip side, have confidence to say, hey, this is working. Let's talk about doing more with you. Like I talked about the marketing example, any go to market sales marketing leader, if they're seeing this works, like until they get diminishing returns, like they're going to continue to invest more because they just see, if I'm putting in $1 and I'm getting $2 back, why wouldn't I continue to put that dollar in until that kind of flattens out and becomes like a negative ROI? So we should do the same. So how do you position it? When we're making that first sale, um, you're obviously talking through, and if the person's a little hesitant to making the full commit, perfect time to do it. But really, like I said, for any sale, we should be talking through and saying, all right, this is what you're purchasing. We believe that this is going to work for you because, we talked about, we've outlined the business case proposal that we've talked about before, outlined key success metrics. I think and I believe that once you hit these metrics, we should upgrade into more seats, adding on suites, doing a group outing, a higher spend because of X, Y, and Z. Don't just throw it out there just because you want to have another sale. Like have another tangible business outcome, pain point that solves. Like you still have to prove the ROI around this upgrade. But on the front end, we're setting clear next steps in the process that, all right, the season starts in September. On December 1st, we're going to evaluate. And if you've hit these metrics, we're going to move you to more seats or this new location and get agreements for them. And not everyone's going to say, okay, but at least we're taking our shot there and looking for the opportunity to do that. Because again, if we believe that it works, we should have the confidence we're trying to help them, try and help them do more and believe in our product and get them to get more returns and more results out of what it is that they're doing. So a couple of things we need to make sure that we do. Yes, we agree and set the success metric and the date in which we're going to evaluate and then do that. But we also need them to go to their finance team, go to their executives, and get budget approval for that on the front end. So let's say that they're spending $10,000 to start, and once they upgrade, they're going to need to invest another $10,000. So we're getting that approval on the front end for $20,000 if this criteria is met. And if not, then we'll just stay at the $10,000 spend. It's better to ask on the front end than asking on the back end, where now they have to go and make another ask and try and get more approval. But if they get approval with these clear metrics that they get signed off on, now you're making it easier for them. They don't have to go make another ask. Like they did it all up front, and now you all are both invested in the success. And I think that's good for us as reps to have some skin in the game to want them to get to that. So now we can get that bigger sale and get them up the ladder and help us get to our goals and everything like that quicker. So we got budget approval approved. We have it signed off once these metrics are hit. And once that happens, this is what that unlocks and this is what we're going to do. So where it goes wrong is pretty much the inverse of everything that's talked about that makes it successful. We didn't tie that upgrade, that proof of concept upgrade to another business metric. Or we didn't look forward to like where goals that they're looking to hit, 3 to 6 months from now. And so maybe we set it on a metric that previously was, but like as they look out further, what are future goals that they have? And so we want to make sure, again, that that's tied to some sort of outcome, pain point that we're solving, another ROI story, not just, hey, I just want you to spend more with me or get more seats or, move to another location. Um, we position it more where we're still trying to find the value. We're not sold on it, they're not sold on it, versus I believe in this and we're going to prove it out. And once that happens, we're doing this. So instead of, hey, let's just try it and see if it works, it's like, no, we know this is going to work. And, when this happens, this is what we're going to do. We didn't define and agree on the success metric. So it's more on the back end, we're coming to them and suggesting, or we're not very clear and direct with when this happens, we are going to do this. One, I kind of joked around, like, so do I use the language of, when this happens, maybe we should talk about doing this? I'm like, eliminate that maybe. Like, make it, when this happens, this is what we're going to do. And you guys are agreed and on the same page with that. And if they're not comfortable, then yeah, we're not going to move forward with it. But it's just that change in language and verbiage of what you're doing, not, hey, maybe we'll talk about it. It's like, on December 1st, when you get to that point, this is what we're going to do. And yeah, we didn't lay out what happens next. We're, doing a check-in, and hey, things are working. And then you got to resell them again on that upgrade. And a lot of times we're like, hey, we'll just stay with what we got. Talk to me next year. And then that conversation never happens. So the worst thing that happens if you position a proof of concept for like a mid-season upsell or a mid-season upgrade and they say no, you've already planted the seed for that next season. So you're invested throughout the year, they're invested throughout the year to see success with this, and now this makes you more accountable to try and get them impact as quickly as possible and try and get them results as quickly as possible as well. So those are the things that lead to a successful proof of concept. But in sports, we're used to sell them once, and we don't even really do a great job of like cross-selling or looking for other multi-threading to find other opportunities. It's kind of more just like, hey, we sold them and I'll talk to them at renewals. And if that's going to be the case, at least set up a checkpoint before renewal so you could start that conversation for an upgrade. But again, really, we want to do that at the initial sale. So they're already thinking about, all right, how do I get more investment with you, with your team? How do I make sure that I'm seeing success and I want to continue to grow with you? Versus this like fixed line item or this like we're going to evaluate every single year. It's like, no, we're going to continue to grow. As you win, we win, and we're going to have success together. Every episode, like I talk about, uh, want to call out something that stood out to me. So I had a lot of conversations with reps, and their companies, like their IT teams or their analytics teams, or they even have AI people, have implemented these AI systems, whether it's Copilot because they're like a Microsoft company, or ChatGPT licenses for everyone, but they haven't really followed through on like use cases for each department. And so what stood out to me is that, it's great that they have this, but now a lot of people are still stuck like, what do I do with it? So teams, companies have invested all these dollars, all this money into, getting AI because that's the buzzword, or their executives said we need an AI platform, but they're not really helping people aside from just like basic generic trainings. Where you need to take it a step further is like, all right, here's the platform, here's some general use cases. Now, marketing, here's how you use it. Sales, here's how you use it. Finance, here's how you can use it. And so that's what I'm really excited about. We're bringing to market a tool called Journey, where it's AI assistants that are pre-built for sales teams. It comes programmed with best practices from B2B sales, and then we can customize it toward using your training docs, using your playbooks, and make it on your instance. So as a leader, you feel confident that every sell on your team sounds like your best seller and like sounds like you. If you got the ego like, I'm the best salesperson, here's the best way to do it. But you can make sure that this tool that they're using is programmed to sound like how you want it to sound, and like everyone's on the same page. You don't have people just randomly doing prompts and randomly doing these different things in the sales process. You're uploading your digital playbook and it's something that they can use. So that just stood out because I thought it was a great first step that a lot of companies are starting to get these AI tools. But if you're not actually then instructing and then reinforcing the training and the learning, you're going to have a sunk cost, and you're going to look up a year from now and these investments aren't going to see the fruits that they were hoping to. So that's why you got to be very specific, and that's why I'm really working with a lot of leaders on, hey, here's how you can use it, and here's how you can coach your team, and here are some steps and some best practices to make sure you reinforce the training. Shout out, I talked a lot about them already, but really want to shout out the Portland Trailblazers, because a lot of teams we work with and just reps I've worked with throughout the years, they'll take a training, they'll get excited, and then it kind of fizzles off. But they've really implemented it where, like I said, they're building agents, they're using game trackers where they know, all right, we had a game on Friday, they're going to call their contact, hey, you used 4 tickets, you said Sam used the tickets, what was the outcome? And so they have these like sheets, and like they track every single game and like what's working, what were some like anecdotes, what were some successes, so they can measure that at the end of the year. And the great thing now with AI is you could just take that spreadsheet, plug it in, and be like, all right, tell me the story and the outcomes that they had, some big wins, some opportunities for growth, and you could put together this plan for next year, or just this kind of end of year summary. If they're a little hesitant on like, oh, I don't know if I saw the value, like they're tracking and measuring it, and you could see very quickly, hey, 5 games have gone by and they haven't really closed any deals, they haven't been using their tickets. You can get out in front of that now because it's in front of you. It's just like if you have a scale, and it's easier to gain weight when you don't have a scale that you can stand on and measure yourself and weigh yourself every single day. This is that accountability check for them. That's, hey, I have these clients, they have these tickets, and each game I'm following up with them to see what the outcome was. So it's just been really cool to see how they took to it, adopted it, used it, and we're excited for another training to come and grow off that. So excited to see what comes out of like the next few sessions here. But shout out to Will and Paul, who are the leaders over those teams, who brought us in for the initial training, and now it's starting to spread out to other departments within the team. We did other people that weren't in the first session, and I kicked off with, hey, what are you most excited about for training? Like, we just heard how amazing the first training was, and I was just like, man, I got this high bar to live up to. But someone told me that I met their expectations, so I was good there. But no, it's really cool to see them adopt it, and now get other people excited about training. Like, a lot of people aren't excited about doing trainings or going to sales training, and like they came in with this energy and excitement, like, I'm ready to learn something new, and they did, and they applied it. And so that's really what gets me excited, and why I got into doing this part of consulting, and like working with reps and working with leaders and bringing in things that get them excited because it's relevant and they can take it and apply it, like literally coming out of the training, but also differentiated content that they're not hearing on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes it is good to hear, just from a different voice. Just like my kids, like I will tell them something, but then the teacher tells them something, and like, oh, I get it now. Or a coach tells them something, they listen. It's just nice to hear from a different voice, but we're really big on differentiated content that's going to be applicable and going to lead to immediate impact and results right away. So good to see that. But to wrap up for this episode, so proof of concepts, it's something we should position at the beginning of each of our sales. It helps us in a lot of ways long term to either get like a mid-season upgrade, or at least have that conversation already preset, or worst case for that next year, it makes it an easier conversation to measure. We talked about success metrics, this happened, now let's go ahead and upgrade. And it gives you the confidence to have that dialogue versus this awkward, like, oh, you think you maybe want to upgrade, we got these new seats. Like, you've positioned it from a business standpoint, and there's back and forth dialogue that's happening. So if you like the episode, go ahead and hit like. Share this with somebody in your network. If you want more content, more episodes, subscribe. Slowly creeping up, a couple subscribers each week. So getting there. But like I tell my daughters every morning when I drop them off at school, go be awesome today, and I'll be back next week with another video. Thanks.
That's nothing. I'ma be doing this, and I'm gonna be head hunting. Oh, baby, don't know. Oh, baby, don't go. Oh, baby, don't know. Oh, baby, don't go.